In February 1957, a college student walking through a desolate area of Philadelphia's Fox Chase neighborhood discovered a small cardboard box lying in the brush. Inside was the body of a young boy, naked, bruised, and wrapped in a flannel blanket. He was between 3 and 7 years old, emaciated, and badly beaten. There were no identifying marks, no birth certificate, no missing persons report that matched. Authorities called him simply the boy in the box. The haunting image of his lifeless face sparked national headlines and decades of unanswered questions. The child had short, roughly cropped hair, apparently cut post-mortem, and his small body showed signs of prolonged abuse. His hands and feet were wrinkled, suggesting he had been submerged in water shortly before death. There were multiple bruises, both fresh and healed, indicating long-term trauma. Yet no one came forward to identify him. Flyers were posted around Philadelphia and beyond, with the boy's image distributed widely. Hospitals, orphanages, and adoption agencies were contacted. Nothing. Over time, dozens of theories were proposed. Some speculated he had been the victim of an underground adoption gone wrong. Others believed he was the child of a traveling circus family, abandoned to avoid legal consequences. A theory emerged that he had lived in a foster home and been murdered by a guardian, but no credible evidence ever surfaced. Forensics in 1957 couldn't produce much more than an educated guess about his age, ethnicity, and time of death. The box he was found in, a bassinet box from a local J.C. Penney, was traced to just a few hundred purchases. Another dead end. The boy was buried in a pauper's grave, marked with a headstone reading, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." Over the years, the site became a local shrine. Detectives returned again and again to the case. In 1998, his body was exhumed for DNA testing in the hopes that modern science could reveal his identity. New reconstructions of his face were circulated. A DNA profile was developed, but no match existed in any public database. The identity of the boy, his name, his past, his killer, remained a void. In 2002, a woman known as M came forward, claiming the boy was her brother. She alleged he had been kept in their family's basement, abused, and ultimately killed by their mother. Her account matched some details of the case, but was dismissed due to inconsistencies and mental health issues. Other tips came in, including suggestions of a human trafficking ring or an accidental death that had been covered up. Each lead unraveled into speculation or unprovable stories. The mystery continued to captivate and disturb. Generations of detectives, journalists, and amateur sleuths attempted to solve the case. In 2016, the case was reopened again using forensic genealogy, a new technique that had already helped solve decades-old crimes, including the Golden State Killer. DNA was analyzed and submitted to databases that connected distant relatives. Finally, in December 2022, after 65 years of silence, authorities announced they had identified the boy as Joseph Augustus Zarelli. Joseph was born in 1953 to a well-known family in West Philadelphia. His parents were never married, and it is believed he was either placed in unofficial care or raised in secrecy. Law enforcement declined to name his surviving relatives, but they confirmed his identity using DNA from both maternal and paternal lines. The revelation answered one question, but left others burning. Who had killed Joseph, and why had no one reported him missing? Though the boy's name is now known, his case remains open. Investigators believe there may still be living individuals who know what happened. Joseph Zarelli's grave now bears his true name, replacing decades of anonymity with recognition. But the scars of his brief and tragic life remain etched in Philadelphia's collective memory. He is no longer just the boy in the box, but justice for Joseph is still waiting.